All right, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, consultant, and of course the Group Managing Director of GIGTEX Global, joins us right away as we talk real estate and how the COVID-19 pandemic is affecting that sector. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Dr. Akintayo.
Thank you.
So let's take an appraisal of, the real estate sector in Nigeria as it is now.
Well, I would say it's full of potentials. I've said this over and over again. If there's any sector that can take us out of unemployment, it's the real estate sector. Because when you look at agriculture, when you look at tourism, when you look at hospitality, even medicine, everything still relies on even entertainment, media. You still need real estate. Imagine the space of this station alone. So if we're able to really maximize the sector, it really has a lot of potential. We've seen economies like Dubai, we see London. These are economies that are growing purely on real estate. They don't even have any other thing.
So why are we not, why is government not leveraging the real estate to grow the economy?
Well, it's the case of if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? I think the Land Use Act is number one major issue here. Every family owns a land. I mean, our great-great-grandparent. So when you come up in the 70s and say there's every land belongs to the governor, you already have a lacuna, you've created a problem. And that has, stop the ability for that place to be freed. Because if all families are able to have access to their C of O, then they can release their land to whoever has the resources to develop it. Okay, but now that it's subjected to the governor, then of course political factors come in. And that has really stagnated the sector. Another thing is the funding. Everybody is having to wait for a mortgage bank, in developed worlds, in the US, in the UK, you do not wait for any mortgage bank to buy a house. You can go to your regular bank. I've gotten this house. They check, do you have up to maybe 10% or, of that money? Immediately your bank or your lender is able to release the balance to the developer. And now the rest is between you and your bank in terms of your mortgage. And so that's what needs to happen. The commercial banks, of course, partnering with CBN, need to be able to make sure everybody in Nigeria can get a house. Once you have a little percentage of that in your regular account.
That sounds so simple and simplified, but that looks also sounds like around us, where we come from, our society, it's impossible for almost just an average Nigerian to walk into a bank. You know the way the facilities are. To get a facility in the bank, you need a collateral, you need this, you need that, you need a whole lot of things. And so a lot of Nigerians do not take advantage, or cannot, even if they wanted to, take advantage of the scenario that you have just painted. So that brings me to the challenges of the sector in the country. What are some of them?
For me, every complex problem has a simple solution. The challenge is that, you want to ask me to bring my birth certificate, my father's name, my grandfather's name, my car, my everything to get a loan. Meanwhile, the real estate itself, it's the loan, right? I can't carry the property and disappear. In fact, one of the best way to really begin to put a face to Nigerians and have all these identity issues, security issues, is to have a mortgage system that works. Because I can't run away with the house. The house is there. So the bank still owns the house. Just that you are giving me opportunity to pay in 30 years, in 40 years, in 50 years, in 20 years. And you are able to deduct as I earn. And if I'm not able to pay, you the same house. So I don't know why the commercial banks, I don't know why the CBN has not partnered with commercial banks to make an average Nigerian own a property. It's simple. It's so simple to do. It's the same model that works everywhere else. So why is it not working here?
All right. The housing deficit in the country is put around 17 to 22 million, even though some people say it could be much more higher. And that leaves inability or say failure of the governments to make necessary intervention in this area leaves Nigerians at the mercy of private developers who are driven by profit motives. Now, the question is, where does that leave the average Nigerian? Where does that leave the common man, the barber, the cat pusher, you know, the woman who runs the hair salon? How will they be able to afford the services being provided by these private developers?
Well, I think the way you've put it is as if the private developers are monsters, you know. The reality is that in business, it's always demand and supply, right? And there's always a associated cost. The reason why developers or properties are expensive is because, like I told you, these factors of hard to get C of O. If every family is able to have a C of O on their land, there will be too many lands that you, the developer, have to sell your own at a cheaper price, or else nobody will buy. But in terms of what can average Nigerian do, I think we need to put more pressure on the National Assembly. A lot of times, you know, we're focused on the executives. When issues happen, everybody is focused on the governor, the president. The National Assembly can work on a law that enables the CBN to give every commercial bank, not waiting for mortgage bank. Because these mortgage banks are not big. You give out licenses, some of these people don't even have the capacity to really do anything. So everybody's relying on mortgage bank. Even the civil servants are relying on federal mortgage bank. The pressure is too much on those people. They can't do it. So if there's a law that empowers the commercial banks, CBN probably releasing some funds to them or somehow backing that if anything goes wrong in any deal you are doing with an average Nigerian, that you have been able to provide funds to get a house. Maybe the CBN, you know, is helping the commercial banks with some funds rather. But it really has to be that Nigerians have to demand that there are laws that, you know, put pressure on CBN, on commercial banks to begin to do this. Because it's the developers, private developers, will always come down with their prices if they too they're able to access it at an affordable.
Let's talk in practical terms. You know, you are a player in the real, you know, estate sector.
Yes.
In practical terms, what will it cost, for instance, to own a 1 unit of 2-bedroom flats in a satellite town in the federal capital?
Have too many forests that is not guided, that, you know, is empty. That tells you that
we can all have homes.
You know, it's not a case where you don't have land. You know, in some, you know, part of the world, the reasons why it's even difficult, you know, if you look at New York, if you look at some, it's because, I mean, there's a little space, land space. You know, people are having to buy. In New York, for example, you buy floors, right? There's no even no land to buy. Right? Yeah. But in places like Nigeria, where, first of all, everybody has a story of a land that belongs to their family. Right? So there shouldn't even be that conversation of, I don't. Of course, all of us can own one. Some of us need to rent, and, you know, definitely. But when you are having a situation of over 22 million, right, housing deficit, I mean, I know some places in Lagos where 1-room apartment, 8 people are there, 13 people, 1-room apartment. You know, it shouldn't be.
All right. Obviously, there is a need to have these conversations and that you are now talking about, and that's why your organization, GTEX Homes Consultant Property, is having a conference. Tell us quickly what that is all about.
Yeah, so we're holding, because one of the solutions we saw was that cash is also an issue for the developers. Because in different parts of the world, one of the messages I've been preaching now is a message of hope. The biggest problem in this country is hope, right? If there is just hope that tomorrow will be better, you will put the creativity of Nigerians at work. And we have amazing young people who can solve issues. I was on one of the TV stations the other day. I was telling them, I said, insecurity, a Nigerian can come up with an artificial intelligence app that can dictate where kidnappers are, where bandits are. You know, these things are possible. But the problem is that we've lost hope. So we said, how can we come in? So our company is committed to employing 100,000 people. So you just refer